Hello and welcome to Vikings and Volcanoes, the educational podcast that brings you the biggest ideas in bite-sized learning. You're never too young or too old to learn something new, and this show is for all the family and for all ages to enjoy. If it's interesting and will expand your mind, we have it covered. The Vikings and Volcanoes podcast is perfect for listening to both at home or for bringing the fun factor and love of learning to an otherwise dull car journey. Each Vikings and Volcanoes episode will delve deep into a new topic as we leap between captivating history, surprising science, and some weird and wonderful wildlife. If you haven't explored other episodes yet, please check out episode 3, The Great White Shark Show, or episode 4, which explores the life and work of Edward Jenner, the daring doctor who defeated smallpox to save millions upon millions of lives. And now, Earth explorers, back to today's episode, which is going to be positively erupting with knowledge and is sure to leave you overflowing with red-hot facts. That's right, we are going to be stepping into the fiery world of Earth's violent volcanoes. And as we do so, we'll be learning how they shape our planet and are both feared and revered by the people living around them. In this episode, we'll be peeling back the layers of the Earth's crust to uncover the mysteries and science behind volcanoes and learning what happens deep beneath our feet, hidden inside our planet. We'll also blow your mind as we take an explosive look at the mightiest eruptions of all time. So get your lava-proof suit ready as we turn up the heat. I'm your host and volcanic guide, Ross, and we're about to learn what happens when the Earth decides to let off a little steam. What is the Earth made of? If we want to understand what a volcano actually is and what causes a volcanic eruption, we need to see each mighty volcano as just one piece of a larger puzzle that is our planet Earth. So let's start at the very beginning. Picture planet Earth as an enormous sphere, a round ball floating in the darkness of space. But now imagine that, instead of thinking of the Earth as a solid ball of rock as some people think it is, we begin to picture the Earth as being made up of very different layers, each with their own characteristics. To imagine these layers, as strange as it seems, it might help to think of the Earth as a giant chocolate sweet. On the outside of this round chocolate sweet, we've got this hard, crunchy layer. This is called the crust. This crunchy crust is between approximately 5 and 70 kilometers thick, depending on where you are standing or sitting right now. The crust is the hard outer surface upon which we all live. It is literally the ground beneath our feet, the bit of the earth we walk on every day, where trees and grass grow, and where we generally carry out our everyday lives, walking our dogs, playing football, and driving our cars. This hard crust covers the entire planet and is also what makes up the hard seabeds and ocean floors beneath all that puddled water. That's right, there's no plug hole at the bottom of the ocean to let the water out, just hard, thick crust keeping the water where it is. Now, as we go about our daily business, we don't think for a second about the mighty forces at work deep beneath our feet. You see, just like that chocolate, there is a lot more going on than the crunchy outer layer. Planet Earth is not as completely solid as it might first seem. That's because underneath the crust there are more layers. If you could travel deep beneath the crust, the next layer you would come to is called the mantle. It measures a whopping 2,900 kilometers in depth, which is over 40 times thicker than the crust itself. The mantle is like the thick-set caramel of our imaginary giant round sweet. It is a mostly solid layer made of densely stuck together piping hot rock, ranging in temperature from a scorching 1000 degrees C near the crust to an utterly eyebrow singeing 3700 degrees C the deeper it goes. If you imagine that the average temperature in London on a grey drizzly day is 11 degrees C, well, the mantle is over 300 times hotter. You definitely would not need your winter jacket if you ever had to visit. And then there's the core, the very centre of the Earth. The Earth's core is roughly 6,000 kilometres deep and is made up of iron and nickel. Interestingly, these are the types of metal used to make drain covers and coins. The outer core meaning the centre, is so hot it's a moving sea of molten liquid metal, and the inner core is under so much pressure it is quite literally a hard core. And by this I mean it is a solid metal ball of iron and nickel that reaches a staggering 6,000 degrees C. This is as hot as the surface of the sun. Even more incredibly, at over 2,400 kilometres wide, this is the biggest ball of solid metal you could ever dream of. Imagine having that dropped on your foot. Now, you may be asking, what on earth has this got to do with volcanoes? Well, these heat-packed layers deep inside the Earth don't just sit still. Oh no, they're continually stirring, shifting and circulating incredible amounts of heat between the layers. This movement of this vast amount of heat within the Earth's layers is so intense and so powerful that the pressure it causes over time results in movements in the Earth's crust. So now it's time to cool down a bit by returning to the surface of our planet once more. You see, the Earth's crust is actually not one big unbroken layer, but is in fact made up of many sections that fit together. These sections are known as tectonic plates. One way to think of these tectonic plates is that they are a bit like the cracked shell of a hard-boiled egg. They are like giant jigsaw pieces that interlock together to make up Earth's crust. But instead of locking neatly into place and staying there, they are sitting on the molten mantle and are being moved by the immense pressure created by heat currents from inside the Earth. As a result, these tectonic plates create trouble by slowly pushing into each other, grinding against each other, and pulling apart in opposite directions. When these plates move, we are really talking about some seriously big slabs of rock moving against or away from each other. And when they do, fascinating things begin to happen. Let's spend a few jaw-dropping moments getting our heads around just how big these tectonic plates actually are. Do you remember that the Earth's crust can be 70 kilometres deep? And if we now learn that in the case of the largest Pacific plate, they can be almost 103 million square kilometres across, well, that makes for one heavy piece of rock. These are no ordinary slabs like you'd find on your garden patio. These tectonic plates can weigh on average up to 100 quintillion kilograms. That is 100 million kilograms. So, as you can see, when these monster rock slabs pull away or push against each other, big things happen. And that's how we end up with mountains, earthquakes, and, yes, you guessed it, volcanoes. So, now we understand the huge forces that are shaping our planet, we can see that volcanoes are a side effect of this raging hot, inner life of the Earth and the huge but slowly moving tectonic plate rock monsters that sit on the outside. Armed with this knowledge, let's drill into exactly how volcanoes are created. Well, there are a few different ways volcanoes can form. The first of these is if one tectonic plate that is pushing against another tectonic plate begins to slide underneath it. If this happens, millions of tons of rock are forced down towards the raging heat beneath the crust, sort of like the mother of all rock dunks. As one tectonic plate is dunked downwards beneath the other, a process called subduction takes place, where the Earth's crust then melts into molten rock. You can practice this by pushing your fingertips of one hand directly against the fingertips of another hand and letting one set of fingertips slide under the other. You've just created a model of tectonic plate subduction. Give yourself a gold star. And luckily, your fingertips won't have melted.
Phew.
Now, the molten rock that is created when one tectonic plate is forced downward is known as magma. This magma is lighter than the denser molten rock around it, so then it does something strange. It begins to force its way back up through cracks in the crust and back to the Earth's surface, and voila, a volcano is born. This is like a red-hot, fiery mass of molten rock bubbles rising and emerging as a volcano. Mount Fuji in Japan, Mount Vesuvius in Italy, and Krakatoa in Indonesia are all examples of subduction volcanoes. Even more amazing is that because, as we've heard, tectonic plates are rather large, when plates push into each other, a very long meeting zone or boundary will occur. These boundary areas are called subduction zones or subduction belts, and it means we see many volcanoes over a very large area. The famous Pacific Ring of Fire is one such example of a vast tectonic plate subduction belt. It stretches all around the Pacific from New Zealand to Japan
Konnichiwa.
to the USA and down to Chile in South America and beyond.
Hola.
Along this Pacific Ring of Fire are many active and dormant volcanoes. In fact, 80% of the world's active volcanoes occur at subduction zones. Another way volcanoes can form is at hotspots. This is where magma can rise from an especially hot region within the Earth's mantle. It is effectively so hot it will melt and push up through a weakened spot in the Earth's crust, like a straw poking through a smoothie lid. The hot spot under the crust can stay in the same spot, but as the tectonic plate above it moves, more volcanoes form in a chain over a long period of time. That's how we got the Hawaiian Islands, a chain of volcanoes in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Now, something else you might not be aware of is that volcanoes come in all shapes and sizes. Let's break this down. First up are shield volcanoes. These are the gentle giants. Their lava flows slowly, spreading out over wide areas. Think of Mauna Loa in Hawaii. It's a massive but calm volcano, like a giant syrup spill which has been erupting steadily for 700,000 years. Then there are stratovolcanoes. These are the showstoppers, the great big attention seekers of the volcano world, tall, steep and explosive. They erupt with force, spewing ash and lava into the air. Mount St. Helens in the USA and Ojos del Salado on the Argentine-Chilean border are great examples of a stratovolcano. Finally, take a step forward, cinder cone volcanoes. These are the small but fiery ones. They form quickly and erupt explosively, throwing out ash and rocks that pile up into a cone shape. Mount Surubachi in Japan is an example of a dormant cinder cone volcano and measures just 189 metres in height, its name meaning the grinding bowl. And don't forget, volcanoes can also be classified not just by how they are formed, but by what they are up to at any moment in time. Active volcanoes are those which are ready to erupt at any time. Dormant volcanoes are volcanoes which are said to be sleeping but could wake up someday ready to create a fiery, lava-spewing nuisance of themselves. Extinct volcanoes. These volcanoes have done their hard work and are now retired forever. No more eruptions. Time to take it easy and relax. Now, let's look at what happens in a volcanic eruption. When a volcano erupts, it's like nature letting off steam, literally. Deep inside, pressure builds up as rising magma and gas get trapped. Volcanologists monitoring a volcano will notice that the temperature around it will start to rise, and hundreds of mini earthquakes are a clue that magma is on the move through the Earth's crust. Eventually, it bursts through the crust, often in a violent eruption. Now we know how volcanoes are formed, it's time for a volcano fun fact. Did you know the word volcano comes from the name of the ancient Roman god of fire, Vulcan? Well, now you do. Hurrah! Wow. And the people who study volcanoes are called volcanologists. Hurrah for them as well. Imagine you are witnessing a violent eruption of the type seen with stratovolcanoes. What would you see? Well, volcanoes can cause devastation in the area around them. You would see lava flowing down the sides of the volcano. These lava flows can reach 1,170 degrees C, burning and covering everything in their path under a fiery blanket. Ash can shoot into the sky, and volcanic rocks, called bombs, fly in some cases for miles through the air. Some eruptions also cause pyroclastic flows, which are thick, grey, fast-moving clouds of hot gas and ash. They're like avalanches of destruction, beautiful but suffocating and deadly. The ash can cover everything for miles around, killing animals and people and causing breathing problems for people who are within its reach. If this doesn't sound dangerous enough for you, then think about this. The ash, lava and mud from eruptions can sometimes combine with the snow it melts or heavy rain in a super cocktail of chaos and cause fast-moving mud flows called lahars. These lahars can be lethal and can bury entire villages. Even beyond the immediate area and days of the eruption, a volcano can continue to wreak havoc by causing a volcanic winter. A volcanic winter is caused by the release of a gas called sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere. This gas can be broken down into particles which then reflect sunlight away from the planet, cooling the temperature of the Earth by up to 2 degrees. In modern times, ash in the air after volcanic eruptions makes it impossible for planes to fly as their engines would be clogged. Often, planes can be grounded for weeks until ash clouds have cleared from their routes. And now, here are some of the biggest and most famous eruptions in history. First up is Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD. This famous eruption buried the Italian city of Pompeii under ash, killing 2,000 people. Rain then turned the ash into a sort of cement, preserving the city and its volcanic victims in a time capsule of Roman life, which archaeologists are still gradually uncovering. And then there's Krakatoa in 1883. Located in Indonesia, its eruption was one of the most violent ever recorded, releasing the same amount of energy as 13,000 nuclear bombs. It was so loud it was heard 3,000 miles away. It caused an enormous tsunami, which is a giant wave, and 36,000 people were killed. The ash cloud it produced even cooled global temperatures. A third famous volcanic eruption was Mount Tambora in 1815. Also in Indonesia, this volcanic eruption killed 100,000 Indonesian islanders and caused what became known as the Year Without a Summer. The world's temperature fell and there was increased rain, frost and snowfall elsewhere on the planet, causing crop failures, food shortages and famine across the world. These eruptions remind us of both the power and the unpredictability of volcanoes. But one question remains: why do people live near volcanoes? Around 350 million brave souls make the danger zones surrounding a volcano their home. But why? Well, it's amazing to think about how something so destructive as a volcano can also shape our planet in incredible ways, creating new land and enriching the soil. Living near a volcano might sound dangerous, but people have their reasons. Volcanic soil is incredibly fertile, making it perfect for farming. Crops like coffee, grapes and rice thrive in these areas. Volcanoes also bring tourism. People flock to see their beauty, hike their slopes, or soak in nearby hot water springs. And geothermal energy, using the heat from underground magma, provides clean, renewable power for people living around it. So, despite the risks, living near a volcano definitely has its perks. Hopefully you are now full of fiery facts and the warm glow of volcano knowledge. So to wrap up, it's quiz time. Are you ready to see what you can remember about volcanoes? I'll ask you 5 fun questions and I'll give you the answers straight afterwards. Are you ready? Here we go. Question number 1. What is the name of the layer of the Earth that is a solid ball of metal and which reaches temperatures as hot as the sun? Is it A, the crust, B, the mantle, C, the inner core, or D, the atmosphere? Question number 2. What is the name for the giant puzzle pieces that make up the Earth's crust? Is it A, lava plates, B, tectonic plates, C, magma boards, or D, earth slabs? Question number 3. Which type of volcano has gentle slopes and slow lava flows? Is it A, a stratovolcano, B, a shield volcano, C, a cinder cone volcano, or D, a dormant volcano? Question number 4. Which volcanic eruption caused the Year Without a Summer in 1815, which saw temperatures drop, food shortages and famine? Was it A, the Mount Vesuvius eruption? Was it B, the Krakatoa eruption? Was it C, the Mount Tambora eruption? Or was it D, the Mount St. Helens eruption? And question number 5. What is the name of the huge, deadly cloud of fast-moving gas and ash that a volcanic eruption can produce? Is it A, a lahar? Is it B, magma? Is it C, the ring of fire, or is it D, a pyroclastic flow? And here are the answers. Question 1. The layer of the Earth that is a solid ball of metal and reaches temperatures as hot as the sun was answer D, the inner core of the Earth. Question number 2. The name for the giant puzzle pieces that make up the Earth's crust was answer B, tectonic plates. Question number 3. The type of volcano that has gentle slopes and slow lava flows was B, shield volcanoes. Question number 4. The volcanic eruption which caused the year without a summer in 1815, where temperatures dropped resulting in food shortages, was answer C, Mount Tambora in Indonesia. And question number 5. The name of the huge, deadly cloud of fast-moving gas and ash that a volcanic eruption can produce is answer D, a pyroclastic flow. How did you do? Hopefully, you are officially on your way to becoming fully fledged volcanologists. And that's it for today's episode of the Vikings and Volcanoes podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to follow or subscribe and check out other fascinating episodes, such as the mysteries of Egyptian mummification in episode 1 or the secrets of the Japanese samurai warriors in episode 2. Thanks for listening, and remember, there's always more to learn about this amazing world of ours. Stay curious and keep being a knowledge explorer. See you next time.